Alright, I'm here to talk a little bit about your DPS and what it says here in the game. Typically, depending on how you run your stats, it's obviously wrong, as everybody knows. But to really figure this out and actually know what you're going to be hitting for, you can always look at a website. It's called divisiondps.com. And you enter all your stats from your gun and in your character screen that you can just find over here. You use these stats here. The weapon damage, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and whatnot, all that stuff all the way down. And it actually gives you a real-time readout. Not real-time, but it gives you a readout of exactly what your DPS is. So then you don't have to wonder, like, oh, why am I not hitting so hard, or why can't I drop this guy, or whatever. Because I know I wonder that a lot. I really found out today, like, how much my DPS is actually lacking, because this really shows exactly what it's at. And also another cool thing about it is, obviously you got to be a little honest with yourself and have a reality check, but you have to put in the likely headshot chance. So what the game does, the division actually takes your accuracy and uses a percentage of that to give you what your headshot accuracy is. So when you have a headshot bonus, that's calculated into your DPS already, but they give you a percentage of your accuracy for the weapon. It has nothing to do with the player ability. So in that website, it actually gives you a likely headshot chance, and you put in your own percentage there. As with me, I'm not that good at PvP, so when I'm shooting at other characters or other players, I put in at 25%. So a quarter of the time, I might hit them in the head. I think that's pretty honest, and I came out, instead of looking like I am now here, with a DPS of 215,914, my primary DPS is actually, my actual accuracy DPS is 183,652.86. My actual headshot DPS is 155, which is extremely lower than my actual accuracy. So I, personally, would have a better chance killing somebody by hitting them in the body than trying to hit their head and missing 3/4 of the time. And that's how I feel too. So that's really cool to see, and it really might change your whole gameplay. And if you're trying to go, like I did here for the video anyway, but if you're trying to go with primary DPS really high and your health kind of lacking, mine's at 58. It's really quite low compared to a lot of people that I know. Just because of the stats that I have on these gear sets, it's not really the best. But if you're gonna go like this, make sure that, especially if you're running solo or if you're wanting to stay alive a little longer, go into your stat or your talents here. I use the radar, the pulse radar, that gives me increased damage. And then I use the health that gives me increased damage. I just started using this. I really don't like it. I'm actually going to change it back over to the overheal now, or the overdose. I really like the overdose a lot more because it gives you that little boost of health that helps you out of some sticky situations. But most importantly, using the survivor link, that's really going to save your life in a lot of situations. It sure does mine. Depending on if it's just like, hey, there's some rogues that jump you and you got to get out of there pretty quick, or if it's you're running into kill rogues and you got to stay there alive that little extra longer to put those few extra bullets on target to really drop somebody hard. Also, go over to your talent tree. These I've read about, and I've looked at a lot of different videos, and I've tried them out myself, and I agree. I think these are the best four talents to have selected for solo play. So this is gonna, when you use a med kit during low health, it'll increase your damage resistance by 40% for 10 seconds. 10 seconds in this game is quite a lot of time, and nobody actually realizes that until you've had to survive for 10 seconds of a rogue while people are on you. And you know you're just trying to run away, and that 10 seconds, that last 10, if it's not frozen, it takes forever. And I personally know how that feels. So for those 10 seconds, 40%. You'll take damage resistance to the 40% or 40% damage resistance. That's an amazing perk, and it really helps out quite a bit because I go to low health a lot when I'm trying to wait for my heal to get back fully loaded, or my med kits to be able to be used, or if I'm on fire. It really helps a lot for any of those. Reach low health to reduce active skill cooldowns by 20%. So not only are you going to take more or less damage because your damage resistance is higher by 40%. Also, your skill cooldowns will go they'll go by a lot faster. So your heals, your pulses, that'll give you extra damage, and your med kits are gonna, or not your med kits, but those other two, they're gonna come back quite a bit faster. 20%, just like 10 seconds. 20% is quite a bit of a difference compared to nothing at all of a boost. And that one is called Strike Back. So then tech support, kill a hostile while any skill is deployed to extend any active skills duration by 10%. So you kill 10 enemies, that's 100%. It's a lot of enemies, but if you're doing mobs, they usually roll around in 6 or 8, and that's really not that many, especially if you can kill them real fast while your pulse is deployed. You just should increase the pulse duration, so that's pretty cool. And then lastly, on the move, which this is an amazing perk, because if you think about it, once you, like when you were in the game, you spent a lot, or in the regular missions, you spent a lot of time behind cover. You didn't do a whole lot of moving and running and moving while you were shooting, especially in the lower levels, because you were too afraid to, or you couldn't. I mean, it was just physically impossible. You had to be behind cover, which is awesome that the game gives you that real worry. But when it comes to being in the dark zone, as soon as you level up, like I'm a level 75 in the dark zone, or 77, something like that, but and I got a 209 gear score. So when I'm in the lower levels where I farm at, I don't really get behind cover a whole lot, except unless I'm really in real bad danger. But this one is kill a hostile while moving to reduce incoming damage by 30% for 10 seconds. So not only are you increasing your damage resistance by 40% with the low health, this is reduce incoming damage by 30% for 10 seconds while you are while moving. So I do a lot of running and gunning. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I love to do. I love to run in there, shoot them down, keep moving, and I'll farm like 5 or 6 different little areas where the bosses spawn. I'll hit all the mobs in between. So those two comboed actually turns out to be a really awesome combo, and it really helps out a lot with solo play, and even if you're playing with a couple of guys. With this stuff activated, you'll probably stay alive a lot longer. Just make sure that when you put all your gear on, go ahead and jump over to your character, go down to survivability, and check out your armor. Mine is at 66% right now, and that mitigates 59 weapon damage. It caps out at 65%. So if you're sitting at 65%, wondering why you can't go any higher, that's why. It's because that's the cap. Cannot go any higher than 65%. But 59, it's a little low. But anywhere between 52, 54, and 65, you're going to be looking pretty good with the damage resistance or the mitigation of the weapon damage. And that counts for everybody. That's not just the NPCs, but that's also other players. So when you have a higher mitigation of the weapon damage, it mitigates some of that damage to where you can stay alive a little longer. And that's really what the armor is for. Obviously, it doesn't show above your health bar like all the enemies do, the NPCs. But when it really comes down to the game, this does help quite a bit. And a lot of people don't realize that. They go for health and they get their health all high, but they never look at their armor, and that's what really matters. More than your health, I would think. I mean, obviously you need health, but those two also combo together quite well. If you have your weapon mitigation up and you have your health up quite high, excuse me, I got a cough going on. But if you can get both of those up pretty high, there's no reason why you can't stay alive with the proper heals and whatnot. So I hope you enjoyed the video. There's going to be a few more coming. But this will try to get you in the right track once you get to 30 and you start getting your gear set. So I hope I'll point you in the right direction here. If you have any other questions, be sure to comment, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. And if I can't answer it, I got friends that can. So, all right, hit me up. Bye.